Live from Perth, Australia, and broadcasting around the world, you're listening to The O Show with your host, Oren McCory. The O Show is a no-nonsense podcast bringing you the best advice on training, mindset, and nutrition to supercharge your efforts in the gym, the kitchen, and most importantly, in your head. Don't forget to share this episode on your social media. Now, let's get to it.
Hey guys, welcome to today's episode of The O Show, and today I have a very special guest on. She is an online coach, she is a badass, and she is very, very good in the whole learning to love your body and coaching females scene. So I have on Marie Angelis, who's a badass online coach. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Awesome. So mate, like we came connected online in the past year or so through mutual friends, and it's pretty clear from your content that you are really into this stuff, and you've been on a good journey yourself with learning to love your body, and even with clients and stuff, you're knocking out some awesome stuff, and your clients are clearly embracing their bodies regardless of where they're at in the journey. It's not just they get shredded and they love it. So that's why I wanted to get you on today. If anyone doesn't know Marie, then go and follow her. We'll give all the Instagram stuff at the end, but I think this is going to be a really, really good show for people because it's something different to anything we covered. And what I try to do on each show is bring on somebody with a skill set and a personality, right? I can't have somebody boring on here no matter how informative they are. So I thought we'd have a good chat. You're educated in this stuff. So yeah, I'm really excited about this one. I think everyone's going to get a lot out of it, even if you're a coach working with female clients, if you're a female, or if you just have a partner who is into fitness, who might be going through some of the stuff that we're going to talk about, and how they maybe understand it a bit more. They can then be in their part, not be in their head, I guess, but they can understand it a bit better than they would had they not listened to this. So I think it's going to be a big one for everyone, regardless of male, female, and what their goal is. So I'm really excited about this one. But first, I wanted to get into some rapid fire questions about you. Just the little silly shit that we do at the start of every show. So how old are you for starters?
I am 24 years old.
24, and you've got a great business at 24. So that's awesome. That shows you how good a coach you are.
Thanks, Aaron.
You're a great online coach, but where are you based?
I am based in Adelaide, South Australia.
Nice and cold there this morning, right?
Oh yeah, gosh, it was 3 degrees and I was meant to go for my morning walk, and my thermal socks were in the wash. So I'm putting off my morning walk to later because it was way too cold.
Yeah, fair, that's fair. So what's your favorite color?
My favorite color is purple, like the lilac. You could see it on my jumper here.
Yeah.
It's just so pretty.
Yeah. I noticed that on your Instagram a lot, that a lot of your gym sets and that are like purpley colors as well. Like I had a feeling when I asked, I was like, I'm pretty sure she's gonna say purple here.
Purple is my absolute favorite.
Yeah, love it. What's better, cats or dogs?
I love dogs. They are just beautiful creatures, and I'm a person who I love people, and I love what's it called? I love being hugged. I love being cuddled. So dogs are just like the best things ever for that. Like they are like man's best friend. Like they just love you. They notice you. Whereas cats are cute. Whereas I feel like they've got like their own agenda.
Yeah.
And they kind of just turn up their nose at you. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. I would agree.
So a dog person.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. Although I've had some people on here who are staunch cat advocates, but we'll not go into that. That's their thing. So, okay, what's your favorite lift in the gym?
There's my absolute favorite is the deadlift. Like it's just an all-rounder. It's an amazing compound movement. It's it's a really good test for strength, and you just feel like a badass doing it. Like, I'm lifting heavy shit off the floor. Yeah. So deadlifts are, just amazing.
Nice. So what's your PB on a deadlift?
Oh gosh, my PB, which I haven't tested in a while.
Yeah.
God, I think it was 115, 115.
Wow, that's good. That's good. What do you weigh?
Thank you. What's that?
What do you weigh? What's your body weight roughly?
I am 57 kilos.
Yeah, because that's good. That's really good
Thank
lifting.
you.
So that's awesome. So, right. What's your? I know we're going to talk about how females like should love their body regardless of what stage you're at. But
Hmm.
if you had to pick a best body part, what would you pick? And it doesn't need to be like a muscle group or anything. It could be
Hmm.
your eyes or your smile or
Hmm.
your hair. It doesn't have to be like your
Yeah.
glutes or your delts, whatever. But if you had to pick one thing about yourself that you like the most, what is it?
I'm gonna say my smile,
Nice.
because I find that people like open up to me easy, and I think one of the things they say is because you just have a really genuine smile. So I would say my smile. However, and can I have two? Because
You
I
can
just
have
couldn't
two.
pick.
I'll give you
I
two.
would say my quads, and
Okay.
because for a long time I was so self-conscious about my quads. I used to be a ballet dancer, and I was a more muscular female. Like
Yeah.
other ballet dancers were nice and long and lean, and I had just these chunky quads. And
Yeah.
for a long time, I couldn't accept it. I'm like, oh, I cannot train quads. I don't want to do anything that relates to quads. But now, like, I'm owning it. I'm like, hell yeah. If I've got good quads, I'm going to work them. Like, you know. So yeah, for me, that's why I do love my quads.
Awesome. Awesome. I'll have to go looking through your Instagram after this and see some of the quad pictures then. Right. Final rapid fire one. We're going to work out your stripper name. So your stripper name
Hey.
is your first pet plus the name of the street you lived on.
This is going to be a very special stripper name. So my first pet was a beautiful black Labrador, and we named her Whoopi after Whoopi
Okay.
Goldberg, because we
Yeah.
were such a fan of Sister Act, and we just wanted to name her Whoopi. So
Yeah.
Whoopi, and the
Nice.
street I lived in is Santa Maria. So Whoopi Santa Maria. There we go. I feel like
That's
that sounds really exotic.
that
Maybe
sounds
I'm a
like
high-end stripper.
that sounds like a really good stripper name. That's good. I like that. I
I'm
like
taking
that.
bookings.
Yeah. Don't all message her at once, guys. Okay. Right, let's get into it. That's a rapid fire of the way. People have got a bit of an idea about your personality now. We've had a bit of a laugh. A little bit on your background now would be good. So
Hmm.
let's talk about you're 24. You've built this successful business as an online coach, and you're having an impact with the people you work with. So what was the background? I know you said you were a ballet dancer, but between the ballet and now, what sort of caused you to get into the fitness scene and become a coach?
Hmm.
Just tell us a bit more about yourself, really.
Hmm. So I was a dancer when I was younger. I trained a lot. And to me, that was when the whole body consciousness started. So I was a dancer as I went through puberty, and seeing the changes, seeing the hips go out, seeing more body fat on my lower body. That made me really aware of what I looked like. And then when I
Mm-hmm.
stopped dancing, which was around the end of high school, as I went to uni, that was when, the surge of social media fitness influencers probably came, and I was using Instagram, and I'd see these girls with amazing bodies, and I'm like, oh my gosh, how do they do that?
Yeah.
And so I did my own research. I looked at magazine articles and how to get abs, because abs were the thing then. Like, you had to have that bikini body.
Yeah.
Um, and I bought weights from Kmart, and I did some, I just did bicep curls and sit-ups
Yeah.
on my yoga mat in my
Nice.
room. Like, I literally have a photo of it, and to me, I'm just like, oh my God, like, why did you do
Yeah.
that? And I'd even have like these magazine articles printed out, plastered on my bedroom wall about what I'm going to do, some motivation, some inspiration. And one of it was like, sweat is fat crying, and it's so not,
Yeah.
that type of thing. So I
Yeah.
was really influenced by people who had these amazing bodies on Instagram. And I remember I've never gone to a gym before, and I got a job at the Adelaide Aquatic Center, and they had free gym membership. So I thought, that's time to go. And
Yeah.
that's when I sort of got into, that was my journey to strength and resistance training. I will say though, when I first started, I was like scared shitless. Like, I stepped into a gym, like having never stepped into a gym before, and I'd see these big guys lifting big weights, and I was very intimidated. I
Mhm.
felt small. And so I just resort to like the stretching room. I do the ab exercises I would do at home there, and that would be my session. It's like a total of 15 minutes. So yeah, it was really scary. And I think a lot of women might feel the same, or even some men might feel the same, that they might feel intimidated the first time they step into the gym, as well as being self-conscious. So you think everyone is looking at you, right?
Yeah.
And how I got through that, I actually, my ex-boyfriend worked at the same place, and he taught me how to lift. So that helped me gain the confidence. And when I saw the changes that you can make doing, you know, proper resistance training, lifting weights, lifting heavy, I was like, oh my gosh, how have I not known this before? I never wanted to lift weights because I thought it'd make you look bulky. I never wanted to step into the weights section of a gym room, because it was scary. But that was the moment when I realized, oh my God, you can shape your body.
Yeah.
Which was really empowering. And then the more serious side of fitness, my friend stepped on a bodybuilding stage, I think when I was around 20 years old. And I was like, holy moly, there are these mums, there are these older women, there are these younger women who look amazing on stage. They look unreal. How can I do that? So that's when I went into my first, I hired my first coach. I was prepping for my first comp, and my experience was was clean eating. So I had a meal plan. I had my cardio all set, and I was like, okay, cool. I'm seeing changes and I'm making changes. I stepped on stage, looked incredible. And then that's when the I guess downward trajectory started. Finished comp, had my reverse diet plan. Wasn't really aware of what I was eating because I was on a meal plan. So for me, those are the foods I needed to eat to lose weight and to get lean. After, I didn't know how to maintain that because I started introducing other foods, and I ate a lot of those other foods. I was binge eating constantly, and within 3 months, Oren, like I gained twice the weight that I lost.
Wow.
So I lost 5 kilos for stage. I was around 55, 54 kilos when I started, and I dropped to 49.7 when I did my first comp. I gained 10 kilos. I was 60. And that was, you know, pure fat because I had eaten a lot of food rapidly. So that was, I believe, what was the lowest point of my fitness journey, because I wasn't educated. I didn't know what to do. And it was really depressing because you're like, is this going to end? Like, how have I gained so much weight so fast? Why can't I stop eating? And then I hired another coach who taught me about flexible dieting and strength training. And that's when I began to love fitness again.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
And I think the beauty of, you know, following macros and flexible dieting is that you are responsible for, you know, how you build up to the total calories or total macronutrient intake for the day. So you piece together your meals with guidance from your coach, and that empowers you to make your own choices and decisions.
Yep.
So that was a really beautiful thing for me to see that, hey, I can make changes and add foods that I like I can eat a pizza if I wanted to on the weekend and fit it in my macros. However, you know, the rest of the week I'm eating lots of protein, you know, eating lots of veggies, but still adding foods that I love. And for me, that was like a big realization. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And fast forward, say till last year, 2019, I did another comp. And then I started to think like, I really love this. Like I love fitness. I love everything that it's taught me. And at that point I was working a corporate job. So this time last year, actually, I was still in my corporate job. And for a while I was umming and ahhing about what to do. And I even remembered, so we're talking about my journey as a coach now. That's, you know, all led up to this point. I spoke to my manager at my corporate job because I was a graduate. So basically when you're a graduate, you do different graduate rotations. What moves do you want to do next? How can we put you in the leadership pipeline? And I was like, I don't know what I want to do in this company. Like I genuinely don't. Mm-hmm. And he goes to me, we went out for a walk, and he goes to me and he says, well, what do you enjoy doing? And I paused and I said, and I really had to think. And I said, I enjoy helping people. And he goes, maybe you could go to HR.
No.
Yeah. And for me, I was like, it's still not, like, it's not hitting the mark for me. And that's when I decided late in 2018 to do my PT course, and then studied that online for 6 months. And then it was literally this time last year that I quit my corporate job. And that's when I decided to become a personal trainer, because I just realized there's just, for me, there was a bigger purpose to help others. And I think that a fitness journey is just so powerful, and it could really change your life for the better if you just knew what to do. And I also wanted to be a voice for women, especially on what they can do. They don't have to do hours of cardio. They don't have to be on super low calories to actually change their bodies. They don't have to hate their journey to get the body that they want, to look like someone else. So for me, that was like a big passion point, and that's what's led me to become a coach today.
Wow, that's a pretty epic journey, mate. And the fact that you've done the course, started the course in 2018, you've only been qualified for just over a year, and you just done it full time since you left that job, and you built such a good business, and you're putting out such a good message. It shows the quality of you as a coach. But one thing I wanted to sort of go back to was after that first comp, because what I find is that a lot of comp prep coaches don't really have the aftercare for post comp. Yes, they can get you shredded, lean on stage, but there's no real plan in place for what the client has to do after in terms of a reverse diet, a recovery diet. Is that something you thought was lacking there, or was it just that the self-control wasn't there post-show? Like, did the coach give a shit about it after, or?
To be honest, it wasn't something I was aware of. Like, for me as a first-time competitor, the reverse diet was never really highlighted. It was more so, let's get you ready for show. Let's get you ready for show. Like, let's do it. And sometimes, like, especially back then, some coaches don't have that support. Whereas now it's beautiful to see a lot of coaches like bang on about reverse dieting, about how important it is. But for me, it was only just show day. Show day was the day, and I didn't have any other plans after that. Yeah. So it's a combination of both. It's lack of a plan. And for me, I just felt so lost because I was so hungry. And for me, it was like, should I still be eating these clean foods, or can I have a bit of chocolate? And then once I had that taste of chocolate, it was that uncontrollable feeling of hunger. And I just, like, honestly, it was like a blackout when I was eating these things, because I just wanted to eat and eat and eat as much of it because I was deprived of it throughout the whole prep. Yeah. So it was a combination of both.
Yeah, that's fair. And I think, like you said, it is something that recently a lot of people have implemented. Like, if somebody signs up for me for a comp, I say, right, you need to do it at least 6 weeks after. And some people can be a bit skeptical. They're like, well, I just want to do the comp. Like, why do you just want more money for it after? But if you explain and you educate them about, the need for it, it's not a money grab, it's a health grab. It's like, we want to get you from this very vulnerable point where you're very vulnerable physically and mentally post-comp to then get you in a healthy spot. So I think if it's done right and it's presented right, like, everyone should be doing it. But a lot of coaches, for some reason, and it makes sense for the coaches to do it too, because while it's not a money grab, it still is, helping a client for an extra 4, 6, 8 weeks while they're transitioning to a goal. So I don't get why coaches would just be like, right, comp prep, and then kind of like forget about the rest of it, because it doesn't sit well with them for after, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I 100% agree with everything that you said. And if anything, athletes need more support in the 6 weeks after the show than the 6 weeks leading up to the show. Because when you're leading up to a show, you're like so determined, you're so tunnel vision, you are literally doing everything you can. And then the 6 weeks after is, you kind of feel a little bit more lost. You feel tired still. And that's the point where, yes, you will naturally get a bit more body fat. And that's when people start seeing themselves differently. They're like, I don't want to gain body fat. And honestly, it's where people need the most support from coaches, is that vulnerable time.
Yeah, 100%.
So it's not a money grab. It's just us caring about you.
yeah, exactly. And I think if you've got that relationship with a client, it's easy to get that across. But I think a lot of coaches just either don't know how to do it after, or they don't really educate the client and, sell it enough to them in terms of the benefits of it. So clients just go on and do their own thing after, really.
I
So
agree.
let's get into like females in particular, because that's the reason why I've got you on. Obviously, you are female, I'm not, but you coach women and you know more about how a woman feels in their body. So let's talk about goal setting for women. Like, in your experience, what drives a female to get started with a health and fitness journey? What goes through their heads when they're in that position where you're like reading the magazines and you're like, oh yeah, wow, I really think, what are they thinking when they look at a coach or they look at joining the gym?
So after speaking to a lot of women, not just clients, but also friends and family members, a lot of it has to do with how they look. So the initial question is, why do you want to start a health and fitness journey, or why do you want to transform? And often they say, because I want to look good in a bikini, I want to lose weight, I want to tone up, I want to look lean. And one thing that they've been saying recently that I've loved is I want to feel strong, which is really cool.
That's cool.
So the underlying thing, as you question them and question them and question them as to why they want to do that, is because they simply want to feel confident in their body.
Yeah.
And then you question them again. So why do you want to feel confident? Because I think, Aaron, it's so important to have that physical, I guess, goal, because yes, you want to look good and you want to feel good in your own skin, but why? If you don't anchor it to a why, you'll just always be looking externally. You'll never be happy. So, okay, why do you want to feel confident? Because I want to, get ready for work and not have to go through my whole wardrobe to find something that fits me and that I feel confident in. Because I want to not be huffed and puffed when I'm chasing after my kids. Or I want to have a better sex life. Or I want to go for that job promotion because, if I feel confident in my skin, like I won't have myself when I'm presenting in a meeting room. So you have to anchor it to a why. Otherwise, it's not a big goal. So that's what I find. Usually women, if you ask them, it's usually about to do with their, bodies and what they want it to look like. But when you dig deeper, there's so much more behind as to why they want to look good. So in my experience, that's what I found. Like, it's not only the physical, but they also just want to feel good and be able to do things confidently.
Yeah, 100%. And like that's powerful whenever they do take that first step and, contact you or any coach for a transformation, or even just going to the gym and just getting the courage to go in and do their thing. Now, you're very big on like self-love, loving your body, and that's the main topic. So if anyone doesn't know, one of my clients suggested that we get you on. I was just like, I needed more Australians, especially Australian females, and I was like, let's give me some topics. It was a client that I trust, and I was like, throw some topics at me or throw some people, and she threw like the topic of body image and self-love, and I was like, cool. So who are we going to get on? Like, that's a topic that I would like to cover too. But from your point of view, who's putting out the really good content? And she mentioned you, and I was like, I know her. Perfect. Let's get her on. So in terms of self-love, what does that mean to you? And what do you work on with clients in that sense?
Honestly, I'm so glad that your client firstly mentioned the topic of that to put into your podcast, but I'm even more like humbled and so grateful that she mentioned me, because I was like, when you told me about this, I was like, what did she mention me? So I am so big on this topic because I've gone through it myself. There's a quote that I want to share before I even dig deep into the topic of self-love, and it's by Maxwell Maltz. And he said, having low self-esteem is like driving through life with the handbrakes on. So you're trying to go through life, but you're kind of going like something's stopping you and holding you back. And that is your low self-esteem.
Yeah.
And why it's important to me is because if you have low self-esteem, if you don't believe in yourself, you're missing out on so much in life. Like, you're not going out because you don't want to look bad, or you're not going for that promotion because you don't believe in yourself. So those aspects in life that you're missing out on, there's a lot of it. And, I think it's really powerful driving through life with a handbrakes on, because that's what having low self-esteem feels like. I've been there. I know what it's like. And And that's why I talk about the topic of self-love a lot. And I think that it gets thrown around a lot, and the message can kind of be lost in how many posts there are about self-love. But to me, having self-love is having full faith and belief in yourself. And it's being so self-assured that you can do whatever the hell you wanted in life if you just backed yourself up every single time. It's being so fucking confident in yourself that you will literally do anything. You're going to do the things that scare you because you think it's going to be really beneficial for you. And not only that, it's being kind enough to yourself that when you do make those mistakes, it's okay, as long as you learn from them.
Yeah.
When women learn to love themselves, when women feel worthy and they're able to be authentically themselves, they can go on a date with another person and be confident and, have it be a good date because they're not thinking about how they look like. And like I said before, they will go for that job promotion that they wouldn't have gone for otherwise. And you start to develop a really healthy relationship with yourself, which then translates to a really healthy relationship with other people in your life. You'll have a healthier relationship with your partner, with your friends, because you're coming from a place of love and you're just projecting that. So that's why it's so important to me, because there are so many opportunities that people can go for if they just believed in themselves and if they love themselves enough to think that they are worthy of it.
Yeah, that's powerful. And that's like, regardless of if you're male or female listening to this, the same things apply. Like, just like that quote was massive, like the handbrake, that's just sums it up perfectly. So I'm glad you started with that. That's killer. So in terms of developing this healthy relationship with your body, now this is something that people find hard. We are our own worst critic.
Mm-hmm.
When we look at ourselves in the mirror, we will see our one flaw, whether you're holding fat around your stomach, you think you've got bingo wings, you've got small legs. If you're a guy and you feel skinny, you'll maybe look at your arms or your chest or wherever it is you want to build up the most. We have this negative thing where our eyes, no matter how good all this can look, if we've got a tiny bit of fat around our stomach, we'll be like, damn it, that's still there, like that's not budging. So therefore, like, developing that relationship is quite hard for people. And it's the same with us. Like, we could do the exact same thing. I'm trying to cut fat now. I'm looking at that stubborn bit around the midsection, the love handles where guys hold it. So can you share some tips to help people get more body confident or develop this healthy relationship? Like, what would you do with a client who came to you with a lot of these issues and you wanted to build their confidence in their body?
I think that's really important. For me, the biggest thing is mindset. So like I said before, when I ask someone what their goal is, usually it's external. But then you have to find out the why. And sometimes the why isn't as beautiful. Like, you'll hear women say, because I hate my body, or because I hate looking at myself in the mirror. And that's when I go, all right, for you to come on this journey with me, we got to change that. Because I can't train, like, you don't want to train because you hate your body. You don't want to starve yourself because you want to look skinny. Like, that's not the goal. So we have to shift your mindset from a place of negativity and hatred to a place of possibility and growth, because that's where the true growth lies. Because realistically, like, we're never going to be the perfect body. What is the perfect body? What is that? Whereas if you just, focus on what you can do, what your body is capable of, thank it for what it does, the growth is, and the transformation is so much more beautiful than a physical one, because anyone can transform physically, but if the stuff that's in their head is shit and it's not coming from a good place, they will never be happy. Yeah. Whereas if you transform physically and transform mentally as well, then the transformation is so much more holistic. So what I use with my clients is firstly that, the purpose mindset shift. So why we're doing it. Yeah. Let's come from a place of growth and possibility and what your body can do right now. And, your mindset and physical growth will flourish from that. Mm-hmm. The second thing is, practicing gratitude. Instead of saying, I have to work out today, I have to follow my macros. Oh, God, why is it so hard? You instead say, I am able to move. Hell yeah, let's do this deadlift. Or oh my gosh, I have like the power to track my food so that I know what goes into my body. I think that's going to be really powerful in helping me know what I can eat towards my goals.
Yeah.
So practicing gratitude every day will really help, because sadness and hatred cannot coexist with gratitude. Like, you literally can't be in two spots at the same time. So that's one way you can develop a healthy relationship with your health and fitness journey, or with any journey in general. The second thing is best friend talk. So, Oren, if you were my best friend, I wouldn't, talk shit about you, or I wouldn't say things that would make you feel bad. Yeah. So why would I say it to myself? So I usually tell clients, how about you treat yourself like your best friend? Because you're the only body you have in this life. And if you spend your days hating on it, then it's not going to be nice. It's not going to be a really good way to live, is it?
Yeah.
So every time you catch yourself in the mirror going, ugh, why is my belly like that? Like, would you say that to your best friend? No. Yeah. Well, if you would say it to your best friend, well, maybe you're not a best friend. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Perhaps you need to find a new best friend. So best friend talk helps. Like, instead of shutting yourself down, build yourself up. The third thing, which something I've worked on in the last year, is receiving compliments with love and gratitude. Like, every time, this sounds really cheesy and corny, every time my partner would tell me like I'm beautiful, I'm like, it would be hard for me to accept it, like be hard for me to thank him. But, just fucking own it. If they think you're beautiful, be like, yeah, actually, I am in my own way. It's like if you receive a compliment and you push it back, you're like, no, I'm not. It's like someone is to give you a present and you gave it back because you were like, nah, I don't deserve that present. So it's the same sort of thing. So don't give that present back, accept it with love and with gratitude. And probably the last thing is encouraging others. Aaron, like, sometimes in the health and fitness journey, you find yourself comparing yourself viciously to other people, and you're like, oh gosh, I wish I had what they had, or I wish I had what this person has. But instead, compliment them, say, oh my gosh, you've got amazing glutes, I want to work towards that, instead of comparing yourself and going, oh, I'll never be like that. Compliment the other person, and it empowers them, and it also empowers you to be like, if they can transform, I can transform. So I think those are some things that people can practice, not only in their health and fitness journeys, but in any journey that they take in life, so that they can develop a healthy relationship with themselves.
Yeah, that's massive. And those are 4 big points, mate. Like, I love the whole best friend thing, and like talking to yourself positively. Like, it all makes sense, but it's stuff that people will be forgetting to do whenever they're going through this journey. And it's very easy to get caught in the negative self-talk. And like you said, the comparison, where maybe they're comparing themselves to an influencer who's been training for 5 years. She's got a PT who maybe trains her for free in return for, the promotion. Their life is just they live in Bali or whatever. They don't work. They've got an easy life. It's like, it's completely different to somebody who has 2 kids, works 9 to 5, and is just trying to drop some fat or grow a good set of glutes. So I think comparison, is the thief of joy, as the saying goes. But you can also use that comparison as a little bit of motivation. Like, if that person can do that, I can do it too, as long as it doesn't turn into negative self-talk. Like, oh, I'm so shit, like, I'm not like this person. Well, of course you're not, because you're your own person, your own physiology, your own circumstances and environment. So you've just got to use that comparison as a positive. And like you said, own it and be like, oh cool, that girl's glutes is really good, but I'm going to try and catch up with her. And you might never catch up, but in your quest to catch up and love to get that far, you will push yourself so far that it's incredible. So I think reframing those comparisons can be massively beneficial to somebody. And like, just more self-love in general, like that whole point and that whole topic, like, I think I need to make just a clip of that, and just anyone who's going through it, I'm just like, just listen to this 3-minute clip or 4-minute clip, whatever it is, and then come back and talk to me. That's amazing. I really like that one.
Thank you.
So we went through a lot there, mate. Like, we've been on, I guess, about half an hour, and it's a lot of beneficial stuff that people can implement. But one thing you mentioned when we were throwing around potential topics of where we could go on here is the locus of control and success formula. So to be honest, I don't know where we're going to go with this, so I'm just going to pass it to you, and I'm going to let you talk to me about what do you mean by that, and how can people benefit from it?
Sounds good. And for those of you listening, and to you as well, Oren, like this success formula has what has shaped me the most this year. It's what, helped me overcome those fears and actually do the stuff that I wanted to do. And also allow me to be successful in those areas. So the locus of control, it's where you find your control. Okay. So external locus of control means you look outwardly, outwardly for motivations. You also blame others, for the things that happen in your life. And it's very much the victim mentality. So say Oren was coaching me and I had to do 5 training sessions. And during our check-in, I was like, I couldn't do 2 out of the 3 because work was so busy. So that's me blaming it on an external factor.
Yeah.
Having an internal locus of control means everything is within you. You have the power to control your outcomes and how you deal with your situations. So instead of me going, Oren, I didn't do it because work was too busy, I would say, Oren, I didn't prioritize those training sessions because I didn't put them into my schedule, work got busy, and I didn't do them. So it's me taking responsibility for my own doings. It's me taking responsibility for my mistakes and also taking responsibility for my success. And, let's put it in a sense where maybe your listeners can understand. So if you're in a comp prep, having an inner locus of control, whatever happens in that prep, you have full control of it. If you're going into state for a work function, you have everything ready. You have your SUPs, you have meals ordered to be delivered to the hotel, and you have a gym that you can go to whilst you're away. That's having an inner locus of control. Having an external locus of control is you going to your coach saying, Coach, I couldn't stick to the plan this week because I had the work function and the work gala. I had a few drinks, didn't train because I was hungover, but because of the work function. So people who are really successful have the inner locus of control because no matter what happens in their life, they take full responsibility for it. People who are unsuccessful have an external locus of control because they just blame everything and everyone for everything that happens. And they tend to be people who are also, more sad. And this is what leads to the success formula. So the success formula is C is greater than E. Cause is greater than effect. So living in effect means you're living at the effect of something or someone. You are living in the victim mentality, like, where is me? Why is my life so hard? Some people have it easier. Some people are so successful because they're lucky, and you just let everything take control of you. Whereas, living in cause means you are the cause of everything that's happening. You control, your life. And the thing is, life is never perfect. Everyone goes through their own shit and their own struggles, but it's how you decide to make use of that, how you decide to make use of your outcome and situation, even the things you have, is what will make you successful. So if you want to live a successful life, a happy life, you have to be living in cause. You can't be living in effect.
Yeah, wow, that's massive. And I think it's that's something that people can take away and implement straight away. For example, on a check-in with a coach, like, own your shit. Like, if you didn't do something, it's on you. And then if you haven't had a good month or a good week, then own it. Like, to be honest, this week hasn't been the best week for me. So, Coach, I'm going to try to be better next week because it's on me, rather than, listen, I didn't train this week. Work's busy. What can you do? Like,
yeah, exactly. And I used to live in effect. I used to be the victim. I used to tell my coach I had this work lunch and I didn't have any other options. Whereas, I had another option. Like, I could have brought my own lunch.
yeah.
And so, that's been the biggest, I guess, mental transformation for me that I think would be really helpful for other people. And even owning your mistakes is so freaking empowering because you're like, I did that. I will learn from it and I can be better. So, for you guys listening, take that on board every time something happens. Live in cause and not in effect.
Yeah, 100%. And I think I went through that actually because during COVID, like, behind me here, I've got my bench, I've got some dumbbells and some bands. This is where I train, right? We used to train out in the hallway. It's too close to Evie's room. I was like, if Evie's sleeping, I wanted to move away. I didn't want to be limited around her naps because it can change day to day. So started training here. As soon as I'd done that, my training went out the window. It wasn't a dedicated spot. Like my laptop's here. Can easily open an email, can easily, do some Canva work and, do some programming, whatever needs done in between sets. And I wasn't training properly. And I said to my coach, listen, business has just been really busy. I've been knocking shit through the roof, like it's gone nuts. And he literally just pulled me up on it. And he was like, mate, I just want you to train 4 times a week for 1 hour. If you cannot plan 4 hours out of your week to train, you're just fucking poor at time management. And that was his way of saying, listen, you just need to own your shit. You're not performing for a reason. You're not prioritizing it. And that sort of pulled it around in my head where then I started to prioritize it. And if I didn't perform that week for whatever reason, that work was busy, I'd just be like, to be honest, mate, I had some shit to do and I didn't train because I prioritized other shit. So sometimes you need somebody to call you out on your shit.
Yes.
And it's not a coach or a friend being hard on you for doing it, but they're just trying to get the best out of you by saying it. And they might say it in a harsh way, but it's meant as a G up and like, right, let's go, like own this shit, like, and own it going forward. So, because it's common for people to fall off the wagon, but as long as they control the outcome, like you said, like they take ownership and control it, then everything can change, and it can change pretty radically, like instantly in your mind, as soon as you go through something like this. So this is massive. I think that's one of the biggest things that we can take away from this. It's that's really powerful.
Thank you. And I completely agree with you. The thing is, you're never going to be perfect. Sometimes you'll be living in effect and you won't realize it, but having people there to call you out is really powerful. So
and that's the benefits of a coach, right? And like these podcasts aren't a plug on coaching, but like a coach will take you, like give you that accountability, that support, that voice to do the things you don't want to do. That's why I have a coach for my physique and my business. You've had coaches in the past for business and physique goals, and having that coach just gives you that extra bit of accountability and a kick up the ass. And if you don't have a coach, you need a good friend who's going to do the same thing and say, listen, Marie, you haven't trained today. Like, what's going on? Like, have you done your workout, or are you following your meal plan? And it's the same with our clients or people who are listening. They just need that one person to be accountable to. They don't have to have the knowledge of a coach. Obviously, it helps if you've got a coach, but just having that one person to sort of be that outward focus to sort of hold you accountable on things, and that little word in your ear when you need it is massive, I think.
I completely agree. Just having that accountability and that voice of reason in your life.
100%. So we've covered a lot of the mindset stuff. What I wanted to talk to you about is, the quote, I think, pretty sure it's a Lyle McDonald quote, that women are not small men. So let's talk about the differences when you coach a female. Do you coach guys at all, Marie?
I used to coach guys, and that's where I realized there was a difference.
So you have coached guys, but now it's mainly females, right?
Yes.
Right. So when you get a female in, or when you realize that there's this big difference in how you need to coach them, what's the training differences? What's the nutrition, maybe the goal setting, or the expectations that we put on clients with their check-ins? How does all this differ between males and females, so we can get specific on what a female actually needs versus a male, rather than just be like a little man, like you said?
So to give everyone a background, for a long time, and it's something that I've realized myself in the last year that I've coached men and women, there was a lack of scientific literature for women in sports, and for multiple reasons, right? If you look back decades and decades ago, who was predominantly participating in sports? Men. So who do they do research on? Men. And when that research was released, it was assumed that women go through the same thing. Whereas now, I think in the last decade, there's been a lot more research on why women are not small men. And because, there are huge differences. So back when I was PTing, before every session, clients who saw me once a week, I would weigh them in, I'd measure them. And for men, I found that their weight, had a pretty normal trajectory. Like, it didn't fluctuate a lot. For women, I found that, when they stepped on the scale, they would tell me and go, I'm so disappointed in myself. You know, my weight's gone up again, but I did everything I could last week. Like, stuck to my nutrition, did my training, did my steps. Why? Like, why have I not, you know, lost weight? And for me back then, as a, you know, newbie PT, I'd go, oh, you know, are you on your period? They'd go, oh, it's nearly there. And I'm like, oh, that's probably why, without actually knowing, you know, what happens, you know, with our bodies. I just, it's your period, whatever. And then the more and more I coached women, and, you know, the more I spoke to Tay Page, who is a women's health coach that helps me understand women's bodies better. She actually referred the women's book by Lyle McDonald to me to better understand what goes through women's bodies. So the main difference, as you would know, and I know now, is the primary reproductive hormone. So for men, you've got testosterone. For women, it's estrogen and progesterone. Now with men, testosterone stays fairly stable, generally speaking, in a cycle of, say, a month or even, you know, a whole year, whereas women go through massive fluctuations in their hormones. And this is what impacts us, you know, physiologically, mentally, and just in the way that we feel. And that was the biggest thing for me over the last year, realizing, you know, how I need to coach women differently. And leading up to that, so, you know, in a 28-day cycle, the first half is called the follicular phase. And this is where you have your period and you lead up to, you know, ovulation. And this is where I find for myself, and also reading books and coaching women, this is where we feel our best. Estrogen is the dominant hormone. Our hunger levels are suppressed. We feel strong. And this is also usually where the weight is at its lowest. So just in general, we feel amazing. So in terms of nutrition, this is the best time to be in a caloric deficit. With training, this is the best time to push strength. And just with everything, you just feel good. And then as you go along your cycle in the next half, which is the luteal phase, that's when we start experiencing, you know, changes in the sense that we feel more hungry because our temperature slightly rises, which also leads to a slight increase in metabolic rate. We experience PMS symptoms. So some women experience headaches, some women experience breast tenderness, some women experience like a whole different range of things that lead to, you know, mood swings, huge hunger levels, hangriness, moodiness. If you have friends or you have a sister, or if you have a wife, that's when we tend to be a little more unstable. You know, blood glucose is unstable, hunger levels are up, just a lot of factors are against us at this point. So in terms of nutrition, you know, some women can stick to a what's called the same calories they were in the follicular phase. However, some women, they might need that slight increase in calories just for dietary adherence. You know, so you can bump up calories by 100 or 200 just to make sure, you know, they're still in a caloric deficit, but they don't feel as hungry, if that makes sense. And then in terms of training towards the week before your period, you know, it's probably best to do a deload because that's when you won't feel as strong, you won't recover as fast as you would in your follicular stage. So those would be the differences in how I coach women in terms of training and nutrition. And then in terms of check-ins, a thing that I add in my check-ins is, what day of your cycle are you? So the more that we build data, the more we can understand how they are feeling. So not only do I ask them about their cycle, how is your sleep? How is your hunger? How is your motivation levels? How are you feeling in general? And as we start to build a picture of what their cycle looks like, because everyone has a different cycle, you know, some women have PCOS. So every woman is different, but the more that we build data around your cycle, the better I can coach you. Because, you know, I know what tools we can implement during the different stages to help you reach your fat loss or your strength goal.
Yeah, that's massive, mate. And I think that understanding of it is what makes a good coach, whether it's a male coach or a female coach. Like, just because I don't have a period doesn't mean that I don't need to know what goes on with my clients. And most of my 60% of my clients are female, like maybe slightly more now. But like, I need to know this stuff, and you need to get that feedback. And sometimes it is as simple, like you say, as somebody's weight will literally just jump up that week before a period. It's like, okay, it's your period. You've been coaching them for like 2-3 months. You know that they normally just jump up that 1 week before. Like you said, normally they can just diet down, you know, with no ups and downs, no cravings, no mood swings, no nothing. And it's just like a normal, easy ride. But for some people, it's all over the place. It's up and down, it's left and right. And it's just like realizing that. And like, some people might, like, what I find in females is that whenever you see the lower stomach bloat, that's a sign that the period's starting to come and those measurements jump up. But some women, I've got the exact opposite. I've had a woman who had a period last week, and her lower stomach measurement dropped from fat loss, and her upper one blew out by like 2 centimeters. And it's like, you just need to identify with each client, you know, what happens in their week before, so then you as a coach know, hang on, even if they don't tell you on their check-in form, it's like, okay, that's went up by 2, that's went down, which might be from the diet changes we're implementing, or maybe you've been better on your steps, you're better with your food. And then you can identify for each person exactly what, you know, what happens to them and their bodies.
Yes.
But
exactly.
for you, how long does it take to work that out with somebody? Like, obviously, like, it's a monthly cycle. Well, it's not even a monthly cycle. It might be 3 weeks, it might be 5 weeks. I've had some people who, when hormones are really up and down, can have them every 2 weeks. But how long does it normally take you to work out exactly what happens with their body? Like, is one cycle enough, or do you need that reliable, consistent data to track it? And like, after, say, 2-3 months, what sort of picture are you getting of working with somebody then when you do track this?
So I definitely think like 3 months, depending on what cycle that person has. And I think what you addressed there, Oren, is the complexity. So, you know, being a woman, we already have the different hormonal changes that happen every single month, and understanding that is a learning in itself. However, every single woman is different. Some women experience different symptoms, you know, they actually drop in measurements. Some women experience, you know, bloating or extreme PMS. So being in tune with your client actually takes time. So 3 months for me is a good data set. And in those 3 months, we can tell the weeks where you feel extremely hungry, the weeks where you feel like you're on top of the world, the weeks where, you know, your mood is, you know, really good, you feel really strong in your training. And then that's when we can start really tailoring things to you. So 3 months, I would say is like a test and learn. You know, you give feedback to your coach, you go, okay, today I'm just really, really hungry. All right, tomorrow let's give you a high day. And then you kind of test out what you do in those 3 months, and then see what works best for your client, to best understand them. And I think this is like the extra level of coaching, you know, that sometimes some people might not realize is needed. But if you really want something that works best for you, it's so not cookie cutter. And especially adding the menstrual cycle to it is a whole different level of uniqueness, of understanding someone and how they respond. And especially, you know, for physique competitors, it is so important to know like what different aspects of your, you know, what different things happen to you in your menstrual cycle, you know, leading up to a show. It's super important. During peak week, it's super important to manage. And the more data you have, the better your coach can coach you. And the more honest you are with your coach as well, the better that your coach can coach you. And I think the beautiful thing about this is it's not only for me and you, or like, it's also for them, because, you know, women, or, you know, men as well, like when you see your weight go up on the scale, you're just like, oh, why? Like you're so hard on yourself. But understanding the why behind that, you can go, okay, so I usually, you know, hold more water the week before my period. This is probably why. So you're also, you know, as a client, you're understanding your body better and how it works throughout your cycle. So you're not just putting yourself down constantly if you're bloated or if your weight goes up.
Yeah, that's massive, man. And I think that's a difference in coaching. Like, I thought you were going to go down that route of how long it was going to take, and that's kind of why I seeded that question in, because I wanted to get the point across that a coaching journey isn't just like a 4-week shred or an 8-week shred or even a 90. Like, I start everyone off with a 90-day program, and then it recurs monthly. Like, and but like, if they do need a lot of help with stuff like this, like working out their menstrual cycle and, you know, adjusting a lot, I think that's a lot of coaching, and that is what I consider a high level coach. Like, you get trainers in a gym who do 40-45 hours a week, and they don't have the fucking time to even work this out. They're in the gym 8 to 10 hours a day. Like, say if they do 8 sessions a day on average, 5 days a week. Plus they've got gaps in between. They've got to train themselves. They've got to eat food. They've got to sleep. Like, that's the whole day gone without any real client interaction. So I find like a lot of coaches in gyms like that don't provide the same level of service. And I think that's where being an online coach is a lot better, because you can focus on everything that's needed behind the scenes. And that's why I think people need to realize that, one-to-one might work you hard for an hour in the gym, and it's absolutely fantastic for a lot of people. But unless the coach is really switched on with their customer service, it's very, very hard for them to deliver the same level of service that an online coach can have. And especially a high-level coach who understands this stuff too. And that's why you're successful as an online coach, because you've got the time, you've got the skill set to put this in. And I think that's massive for people, you know, to realize that there's levels to this. Like, if you're hiring a coach to work on something like this with you, and something that we said today has resonated with you, and you're like, you know what, I think I do need a coach for more commitment and understanding this sort of stuff. Don't expect a short-term fix, and don't expect to go to somebody who's really, really busy with that stuff. And that's not me knocking them as coaches. Like, they're doing what they think provides the best service. But for me, it's just a little bit different. So if you think you have a dysregular period, you think you've got hormonal issues, you think it's all coming from lifestyle, and, you know, you need more input into something like this, you need to hire somebody who has the time to actually work on it with you. And you need to hire somebody who, like you, is a specialist in this and focuses only on females, and has the time to actually work this out and go detailed with check-ins, rather than just be like, okay, have you just skin folds change? Is your weight down? Is your weight up? Like, is your tape measure down? I don't know what other measurements they might use, but like, if you focus just on the one thing and you're not taking into account like the week one of your cycle to the week one, and you're just looking at, you know, the measurement on the scales, the measurements, you know, even just pictures, if they only work off pictures, like, there's so much more that goes into it. And I guess I just want to get across the point that there's levels to this, and you can tell from talking to you that you're passionate about it, and that you put a lot into your clients for it, and that's what makes you a successful coach and a successful female. So
thank you. And I think, you know, everything you said that was so important. You know, when people look for coaches, and it's all right, because they don't know what they don't know. They only look at face value. Okay, what has this coach done to transform this person? Oh, I want to have that transformation too. How much do you charge? Hold up. Okay, firstly, you know, I work with people long term. You know, you go through stuff like that because people are so, and I don't blame them. And this used to be me, because we are so, what's it called? You know, we are so used to having the quick fixes and, you know, having things instantly, because we live in a world with instant gratification. So it's not really in a fitness journey where you see 4-week shred, 2 weeks to abs, you know, stuff like that, where people, this is literally what these people see every single day. The general population see this every single day. They get targeted with these ads. And for them, oh my gosh, 4 weeks is realistic. It's quick, it's short. Whereas the level of coaching that we provide is completely different, because it takes them through that journey, and it empowers them with the knowledge, with the discipline, and with the experience, to not have to ever hire any coach again, to not have to go through any other program or any other fat loss challenge again that they rebound off, because this journey is so sustainable. And I think that's so important for people to realize that if you are looking for a coach, and if someone's promising you a quick fix, perhaps that's not the option. If you want long term, if you want to have a really healthy transformation that, you know, you can follow macros, and then after your fat loss, we teach you to reverse diet and, you know, eat in moderation and have that balance in your life, and have a beer or have a pizza or have the cheese platter with your wife, then that's what we do, right? We don't do the 4-week quick fix, because if it took you 5 years to get to this point, you know, to be overweight or to be really unfit, do you reckon it'll take you 4 weeks to, you know, in quotes, undo?
Yeah.
No, it takes a while. And I think that's a really important message for people to know, that your journey should be personalized to you. It shouldn't be cookie cutter, because that will be your best bet at success, not just in a 3-month transformation, but in your long-term success with your health and fitness.
Yeah, and it's massive, mate. And there's tons that we put into this, mate. And I'm really happy with how this has turned out, because we haven't went this deep into coaching females with anyone, I'm sure. We've like glanced over certain topics, but this has just been a sort of female specific one. And to be honest, I wasn't sure, because we talked for 15 minutes before the start. I wasn't sure how long we'd been on, and I was getting to this question. I was like, oh, will I fit this one in, or will it make it too long? But I'm so glad we did, because we went down that little bit of a rabbit hole with it that shows the depth that people need to consider with this. It's stuff that people will not have considered. Yeah, I really want to thank you for coming on. It's been incredible. I want you to give yourself a shout out. How do people follow you? If they're coming off my page, how are they going to follow you? What's your Instagram handle? And if anyone is interested in working with you, because remember, I value you as a coach. I'm not here trying to get people onto my coaching. I got you on here for your knowledge. So if somebody liked what you said and they think, listen, Marie sounds like an awesome coach, I want to inquire with her, what's the best way to go about it?
So if you go into Oren's page and you go to the people he follows, type in Marie, Marie, Angel, Angel, Fit. So Marie Angel Fit, that's my handle. And you'll find me on my page. Send me a message if you love this podcast. Send me a DM if you have a question. You know, my inbox is always open to anyone and everyone except for spammers. Yeah. You are not welcome. But reach out to me. I love talking to people. And I also wanted to say thank you so much for having me on the show. Like, I think we had a lot of powerful conversations within the hour that we've been chatting. And I hope that it helps, you know, people realize a lot of different things in terms of their health, in terms of their mindset, in terms of their success. And in terms of their bodies. And also, you know, if you do want to coach, you know, do your research, make sure they know their shit. So yeah, I always, like, every time I look back on my journey and where I want to go, I always say, like, I want to be the coach that I needed when I was in a bad place. So, you know, for me, I would have, if knowing what I know now, I would have done my research. I would have gone with someone I connected with. So yeah, I hope you guys, you know, got a lot out of it, and don't just listen. This is one thing I always say, Oren, is don't just listen, take something out of it, whatever one thing, and then apply it to your life, because there's no use just listening to something and going, okay, off with my day. Like, yeah. If O and I were to actually add value to your lives, please, I beg you, take one thing out of it and apply it to your life to make it that bit better.
Yeah, that's massive, mate. And I'm going to encourage everyone, if this show was great, you took something out of it, please take a screenshot, put it on your story, and tag both of us so we both get to share. And then that gets more people, that gets in front of more people, and somebody else might see you tag it and be like, oh, female health and phys, whatever we're going to name this one. That sounds quite interesting, or loving your body, whatever the tagline we put on this is. Then other people get to benefit. They come into the podcast, they get the knowledge bombs in their ear that you have had over the past hour. So it helps the podcast grow, it helps us grow our following, but it also helps the people who are following you, because then they get all this awesome information. So please, guys, tag both of us in it. It would be awesome to see if it's well received. Hope you guys are liking the new sound quality. Marie also has the exact same mic that I've got. So this should be like audiobook quality, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, I hope you guys love the episode. Don't forget to tag us. Don't forget to follow Marie, and we will go from there, guys. We will see you on the next episode. And this should be up, Marie, in the next couple of hours. I'm really quick at getting these together. So it'll be up by tonight.
Amazing.
And you can pop it out on your story.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I had so much fun.
Awesome, mate. Thanks for coming on, and I'll speak to you soon.
All right. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to The O Show with your host, Oren McCory. If you liked this episode, then please subscribe to the podcast wherever you're listening and share this on your social media. We'll see you on the next episode for more no-nonsense advice to help you supercharge your efforts in the gym, in the kitchen, and most importantly, in your head. See you then.